This is KWCH 12 Eyewitness News at 5.
Freezing rain and sleet along with some thunder. Did you hear that as it hit parts of Kansas in the early morning hours? Well, all of it led to several of these earlier today.
Yeah, our crews came across a lot of cars just like this one that slid off the road. I bet you saw a lot too. And what we saw today is only round one of what's shaping up to be an active week of weather. Chief Meteorologist Janssen is watching another system that could impact your travel in the next couple of days. And Ross, what's the latest?
Well, Melissa, it looks like the next round could be less than 24 hours away for parts of Kansas. You mentioned it. It's an active weather pattern, but the moisture's nice to have. I think most of us would rather not have the ice, but we can't choose the precipitation type. This is the back edge of what was our icy event early this morning, now covering southeast Kansas, and it's on its way out, but the clouds are likely to stay with us for a good part of the night. And once again, the next round of moisture is just about 24 hours away. Now, our future track is showing at 4:30 Wednesday afternoon. So again, this is about 24 hours from now. Another batch of wintry weather impacting south central Kansas. I got a feeling, though, that the more significant travel concerns will likely develop later tomorrow night. So I think your morning drive tomorrow should be okay. Coming home from work tomorrow looks like it's going to be okay, but tomorrow night we'll have to watch out for some more slick roads. Wind chills at 5 o'clock, 13 in Hill City, feels like 2 in Goodland, 14 in Great Bend, feels like 12 degrees here in Wichita. The rest of the evening, as you would expect, is going to be rather chilly. We'll stay steady at 24, 8 o'clock temperature 23 down to 22 at 9 p.m. this evening. And wind chills tomorrow morning, this will be the concern, feeling like 1 in Colby, 1 in Goodland, the wind chill 5 tomorrow morning in Salina. I'll have the latest on this next round of wintry weather coming our way, and another storm maybe for the weekend. I've got the details in a little bit.
All right, thank you, Ross. And this is what the roads look like as you were waking up this morning. You can see they were just covered in sleet there. They are improving this afternoon. Brenda Carrasco spent the day checking out the road conditions. And Brenda, what can we expect on our drive home tonight?
Well, Melissa, roads here near the 235-135 interchange are in much better condition than they were this morning. So far, there have been 146 reported accidents in Sedgwick County, and there are still plenty of slick spots out there you're going to want to watch out for. Wichita Public Works employees weren't the only ones keeping busy. Tow truck companies were too. I spent the day riding along with tow truck driver Ryan Reitaler, who staffed a full team to help retrieve the cars that slid off the roads or crashed. We drove south on the turnpike and on Wichita highways. The roads had already been treated and were in good shape, but exit ramps were still a little slick. Reitaler says it's important for drivers to continue to be cautious throughout the evening hours, since the melted ice could refreeze throughout the evening.
Black ice is very hard to see. In fact, most of the time you don't see it until it's too late. But it's one of those things that honestly you don't even really see it. You more feel it.
The emergency accident reporting plan here for the city of Wichita is still in effect. That means if you were in a car accident and no one was injured, you can exchange information with the other people involved and file a report later with police.
All right, thanks, Brenda. The search for 5-year-old Lucas Hernandez now in its third day. Wichita police are still asking anyone who has any bit of information to please come forward. This story now gaining some national interest. Our own Rachel Skida was on Headline News. That was earlier this afternoon to talk about this case. Rachel's been following the story since the beginning, and she joins us now with the latest.
I'm outside of the house where Lucas Hernandez was last seen, and I was here earlier today. It was a quiet scene, but just in the past hour, we've seen investigators show up. They seem to be canvassing the neighborhood here right now. We have some video that Brittany Thomason shot earlier today. If we can show that to you here. This is as investigators arrived here in this neighborhood, again, where Lucas Hernandez was last seen. Now, we know police have focused their search around Lucas's home, also around several Wichita parks. We were there yesterday as they looked through Chisholm Creek Park as well as Glen Day Park. And we learned today that they've also searched Harrison Park. That's in East Wichita near Harry and Webb. Police say tips from the public have led them to search those parks, and they're asking anyone else with information to please let them know. Again, in the past hour, we have seen investigators show up here near the home, Lucas's home, where he was last seen on Saturday. We want to remind you he's 5 years old. He was last seen wearing black sweatpants, white socks, and a gray shirt with a bear on it. If you have any information about this case, you're asked to call police.
All right, thanks, Rachel. Let's give you another look. Here is that picture again of Lucas, as well as the tip line number you can call. Again, please share this photo on your social media feeds.
New this afternoon, things are finally back to normal in Harvey County after a cyber attack earlier this month. The attack on February 4th disabled a portion of the network. Some departments had to work through limited services as the network was being restored. Officials say moving forward, they will continue to review what happened and examine the procedures to identify additional opportunities for network security. Police in Derby continue to look into 2 deaths. Officers responded to a home last night in the 600 block of Tanglewood Court. They found 2 men dead inside with gunshot wounds. Anna Ald has the latest from police on the investigation.
Police were called here Monday night, but they say the situation likely took place over the weekend. They got a call from a concerned friend asking for police to check in on someone inside the home. Derby police are trying to figure out what led up to a shooting at a home that left 2 people dead. When police got to the home, they found 2 men in their 30s with gunshot wounds. Investigators say a murder-suicide situation is possible, but they are still in the beginning stages of this case. Neighbors say they don't know much about the people who live there.
It's kind of quiet, and they kept to themselves, so, I mean, nothing out of the ordinary.
If you know anything, call Derby Police or Derby Crime Stoppers. In Derby, Anna Ald, Eyewitness News.
Wichita police say an argument over food led to a shooting in South Wichita yesterday afternoon. Officers found a man with a gunshot wound to the arm and chest at the C-store on South Hydraulic. Investigators say he got into a fight about food with the suspect and was shot. A blood trail led them to a home where the SWAT team had to be called. It was believed that the suspect could be inside. He was not. Police are still looking for him. The victim's injuries are considered non-life threatening. A student suspended following a school threat in Great Bend. The police department says it's investigating that there was a threat made against the school last night. The threat was made through Snapchat, we're told. The case has now been turned over to the prosecutor's office for consideration of charges.
New video this afternoon shows the extremes one burglar goes to when breaking into a business in the Delano district. You can see them break the window, climb inside, and this is at the Weiss Barber supply store there. Now, we'll speed this video up right now, and you can see that. And you can see the mess this person just left behind as he takes what he can before leaving. And it only took about a minute. Today, Kiara Ely spoke to the owner about how others are reaching out to help.
Matt Amos's Monday did not start out as expected after someone threw a rock through the window of his business.
He came in, grabbed all the stuff off the shelf, and then made one trip, dumped it all in the trash can, another trip, dumped it in the trash can, another trip, dumped in the trash can, and then wheeled the trash can down the street.
And as you can see from this video, made off with thousands of dollars worth of items like clippers and barbering supplies. But that's not stopping the former Marine's positive attitude.
Yeah, so $6,500, and that doesn't include, you know, the broken window and the damaged cabinet. Because when he threw the rock in, the rock's actually sitting right there that he tossed, so it's our new shop mascot.
While the owners of Weiss are still looking out for who broke into their store, they've had a lot of support from other local business owners. Cliff Bragg with Milk Float is one of them and stopped by Weiss on Tuesday with baked goods from his shop. Bragg has had 2 break-ins at Milk Float since November and says he understands how hard it is to run a small business.
The biggest thing for us was that I saw the post. They said it was shared a lot and came across my Facebook feed, and my heart sank. I said, I know what that's like. And something sweet to eat, maybe just give him a chance to breathe for a moment in the midst of all the chaos.
And while Amos is disappointed with the thief who cost him so much, he's not letting the experience bring him down, especially with so much community support.
We're not going to let it change, you know, how we do business or how we view our customers or how we view people in general, because it's just we're not going to let one bad apple ruin it for everybody.
In Wichita, Kiara Ely, Eyewitness News.
New at 5, Sedgwick County has seen an uptick in used car dealerships selling cars but then not providing the titles. In 2016, the Consumer Protection Division received 35 complaints. That jumped to 40 last year. In just the first 2 months of this year, it has received 44 complaints.
The dealership, it is their responsibility. If they've engaged in the transaction, you've purchased the vehicle from them, they have to make sure that you've been provided title within 60 days. And we have had cases where it's not just some, inadvertent mistake, but we've seen a systematic pattern of this.
In those cases, they brought about civil lawsuits. So here's what you should do when buying a used car. First, ask to see the title. If the dealership doesn't have it, ask who does. If you don't get it within 60 days of the sale may be void and you may be entitled to a full refund. If there are any problems beyond that, contact the Consumer Protection Division. In just a little under 2 hours, polls will close in Derby. Tonight we'll know if a $123 million school bond issue was approved by voters. It would be used to upgrade safety and security at the schools. It has 3 questions. The first has to pass in order for the second two to be able to pass. We'll be able to monitor those results and bring you updates throughout the night. Nearly 2 years after the deadly mass shooting in Heston, a hero from that day is being honored with one of the nation's highest honors. That's coming up. Plus,
thought it was fine for a 19-year-old to have an AR-15?
That's the question posed to the family who took in Florida school shooting suspect Nicholas Cruz. Their answer just ahead.
And a couple reports coming in on our Storm Team 12 Weather Watcher Network indicating ice accumulation, a big deal early this morning. Jess sent us this report from the Severy area, which is south of Eureka, about 1/8 of an inch of ice accumulation there. And if we take you down to Anthony, Randy reporting in was shy of just 2/10 of an inch of precipitation. And our last stop from that field green, Ken reporting in with about 1/4 of an inch of ice from this morning's event. Tracking another system in less than 24 hours. Back with your forecast in just a few minutes.
Expect more from KWCH 12. This is Eyewitness News at 5. Online at KWCH.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. This is KWCH 12 Eyewitness News at 5.
The family that took in Florida school shooting suspect Nicholas Cruz is speaking about what they knew. Cruz had been living with the Sneed family for about 3 months when he allegedly carried out the deadly attack. They spoke to John Blackstone of CBS News. The family says they knew Cruz had guns, including the AR-15. They made him put the guns in a safe.
Thought it was fine for a 19-year-old to have an AR-15?
It's his right to have it.
You feeling differently about that now?
No. Nope.
The family says they knew he was depressed over his mother's death, but there were no signs of trouble beyond that depression. They are shocked by what happened and call his actions a very selfish act.
Students who survived the shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School boarded a bus today. They are traveling 400 miles to Florida's state capital. Once they're in Tallahassee, they plan to urge lawmakers to act to prevent a repeat of the shooting that killed 17 last week. They plan to hold a rally tomorrow in hopes it will put pressure on lawmakers to consider a sweeping package of gun control laws, something some Republican lawmakers say they might consider. The debate over gun control has spread to Washington. President Donald Trump will host a listening session tomorrow at the White House with high school students and teachers. They'll discuss different ways to keep schools safe. There's no word yet on whether any of the Parkland students will be there. A new Washington Post poll shows Americans remain divided about whether there should be a ban on assault guns. A clear majority surveyed say they believe President Trump needs to do more to prevent mass shootings, and even more Americans say Congress needs to take action.
Sales of backpacks touted as bulletproof are on the rise in the wake of the deadly shooting in Florida. A Florida company called Guard Dog says its bags are tested and certified against 44 mags and 9mm bullets. The company says it is not preying on parents' fears.
The idea is to have an extra layer of protection.
Some manufacturers are seeing as high as a 30% increase following last week's shooting.
It's a huge national honor for a hero from Kansas. That's coming up. We'll look outside over Wichita. You see it's a little white out there. Hope you're home getting warm. Your Storm Team 12 forecast is next.
Now, your accurate Storm Team 12 forecast.
Hopefully today's icy roads didn't catch you by surprise. The back edge of that winter system is now moving through southeast Kansas. Some of those areas in southeast Kansas had more than an inch of rain, making the rest of us a little bit jealous. But as this system begins to pull away from us, the clouds are going to hang around overnight, and another chance for some moisture coming our way tomorrow. Look at this. Coffeyville, almost 2 inches of rain. Caldwell down in Sumner County had over an inch of rain. We had almost 3/4 of an inch in Winfield. Officially for Wichita, when you melt down the sleet and what moisture we had, a little bit more than 1/10 of an inch. Hutchinson didn't have a whole lot. Salina didn't either. And St. Francis in northwest Kansas had 5 inches of snow. while the rest of us had some icy weather to deal with. We did get some snow in far western Kansas. Well, tonight it looks like we're going to be dry. The clouds will be filling back in across Kansas. We'll drop to 18 degrees, but wind chills will certainly be a lot lower than that. And the clouds will be around throughout the day tomorrow. We could be looking at a little bit of light snow in the afternoon. It's not going to be anything significant. I don't think it's going to cause any big issues on the roads, but tomorrow night comes our next round of icy weather that we'll see here in parts of the plains. Now, if you've had a chance to look at your Storm Team 12 weather app, you might be seeing a winter weather advisory at the top of that, and that's basically for tomorrow night because another round of freezing drizzle could be coming our way, and it will impact south central and eastern Kansas. Same areas that were hit last night and early this morning could be dealing with it again, only this next go around probably not the amounts of sleet that we saw with this latest batch of moisture that we had earlier today. So let's track it for you and show you what we're seeing on our future track. It will be cold overnight. Clouds will be filling back in across Kansas, but at 6:30, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning as you're getting ready for work and school, most of our roads will be okay, except for the side streets and the parking lots. Most of those will probably still be somewhat slick. But clouds will stay with us throughout the day. And watch down here to the south, some of this light snow trying to push in our direction. So later tomorrow afternoon, yes, we could see a little bit of light snow over southern Kansas. Again, I don't think it's going to amount to that much. But it's tomorrow night where we see the chance for freezing drizzle starting to develop from Dodge City through Pratt over toward Hutchinson, even here in Wichita. More freezing drizzle on the way, and that could be impacting the turnpike. So travel Thursday morning between Wichita and Topeka and even Kansas City could be slick once again. We're certainly looking at some very chilly temperatures. Now, Thursday afternoon, the winds turn back to the south. So even if we do have some icy roads at the beginning of the day, conditions should improve during the afternoon as temperatures begin to warm back above freezing. Thursday afternoon for most of Kansas is probably our next chance of getting back above 32, but the clouds will be staying with us throughout the afternoon. After we get past Thursday, hey, we've got another system to track for you coming in for the weekend. Saturday, an area of low pressure will be coming right across Kansas, and once again, chances for rain and some snow in the first part of your weekend forecast. We need the moisture, so another system to watch for the weekend. We're probably not going to see ice accumulation with the Saturday system, but it could have impacts on your weekend plans, so stay tuned. As we get more details on that, we'll get closer in time, certainly. Partly cloudy skies looking out over Salina right now in Capital Federal Sky Cam 12. We're stuck at 25 in Wichita, 78% humidity, the wind out of the north at 17, and just about everybody in Kansas continues below freezing here at 5 o'clock. Down to 7 in Hays tonight, 2 below in Goodland, 11 for Dodge City, 12 in Salina. Clouds will be moving back in through the night, but no freezing drizzle overnight. Most of tomorrow looking dry, but cloudy skies in the afternoon. Some late day snow flurries possible. 27 in Hays, 30 in Salina, 32 for Hutch. Wichita will be stuck at 30 for a high. Your Storm Team 12 10-day forecast, some more messy weather on Thursday. Friday we catch a break, and then we have to watch this system coming in for Saturday. Good news is by the second part of the weekend, we do see warmer temperatures and some sunshine. Most of Kansas will see 50-degree weather by the end of the weekend, and stretching out your forecast, the whole 10 days shows another chance for some rain coming toward the end of next week.
Thank you, Ross. It has now been nearly 2 years since the deadly workplace shooting at Excel Industries in Heston. 3 people were killed, 14 were hurt. Now, one of the reasons there weren't more deaths, Heston Police Chief Doug Schrader. He entered the building alone and took out the shooter. Today, he's being honored at the highest level for his actions. Our Washington Bureau's Peter Zampa was there as Schrader received the Medal of Valor.
Chief Schrader, you saved a lot of lives. Thank God you were there. Thank you, Chief.
Honors for a local hero. Heston Police Chief Doug Schrader says he thinks about the 2016 shooting at Excel Industries every day. He stopped a shooter from carrying out more killings. He's now a recipient of the Medal of Valor from President Donald Trump.
It's a great honor to be here to really represent all of the first responders that went that day, EMS, fire, all the other agencies outside of my own.
It's the highest decoration for bravery exhibited by a public safety officer. Schrader receives this honor less than a week after a mass shooting at a Florida high school. He says no one should have to go through these tragedies in Parkland or Heston.
I don't want to be political, but we just need to do a better job of loving each other. That's what it boils down to.
Schrader's one of 12 public safety officials being honored here at the White House. The ceremony, another show of support for law enforcement from this Trump administration.
You have earned an eternal place in the gratitude in our history. and in our hearts.
Schrader says it's amazing to hear the stories of the others sharing the day with him. He says all of these heroes deserve the support of this administration.
We, like anybody, performs better, more efficiently, more effectively when they're supported, and we definitely feel that from the president.
This is the second time President Trump has held a Medal of Valor ceremony. At the White House, Peter Zampa, Eyewitness News.
Thank you so much.
It's a frightening scene. For nearly 30 minutes, two men dangling from a building 17 floors above. It's when Eyewitness News at 5 returns.
Of Eyewitness News.
It was tough sleeping this morning. Really hard.
Yeah, between the thunder and the loud, the loud claps of thunder and the lightning, and then, of course, the sleet hitting your window. But this from the Whitewater area, you can see some of the hail that fell with the storms earlier today. 10-day forecast shows another chance for moisture this weekend, and maybe one coming at the end of next week.
All right, thanks, Ross.